My name is Tom Warren, and as the Federation Board Chair, I'd like to welcome everyone for this momentous occasion. If you will look around, all of you are the ones that have made this possible. By your hard work, by being on this committee or that committee, taking leadership positions, and also donating your resources. And before we start, I would like to particularly thank also those of blessed memory who came before us. Because without them, 70 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, believe me, this wouldn't have happened. And I'd like to just take a moment and thank them. I want to acknowledge some of our special guests. And first, we want to thank the chairs and past chairs of the Federation and also the Foundation that are in attendance. Today they include Dick Belkin, Bruce Beyer, Jack Cole, Don Diamond, represented by Helene, Danny Gash, Jeff Katz, Bobby Present, Linda Tamarkin, and Jim Whitehell. Are there any here that I missed? Hey, look, Kathy Unger. She's my immediate past chair and attends every committee meeting. Did you RSVP, Kathy? Without their efforts, we would not have the vibrancy we have today and the organization we have today. So thank you all very, very much. We are grateful. We are also pleased to have some special guests from our broader community. He's also, part of the Jewish community. It's Mayor Jonathan Rothschild. Now we'll get to the broader community. Representing Congressman Martha McSally's office, please join me in welcoming C.J. Carmargin, District Director. We want to thank the Congresswoman for her leadership and support. Let's also welcome United Way CEO Tony Penn and the Community Foundation of Southern Arizona CEO Clinton Avery. We are so blessed to have such a together community and be part of the overall community and have the community support our community. Thank you very much. And now it's my privilege to call on the chair of our Board of Rabbis, who also serves on the Federation Board. I've also appreciated working with her in the role as co-chair of the Jewish Community Roundtable. Please welcome Rabbi Batsheva Appel.
The one who spoke and the world came to be. That's one of my favorite names for God, and that's all that creation took. Words that put everything around us in motion. God speaking words that were simple and clear, words that reflected that God thought that the creation was very good. For us, building or creating anything is not always simple or clear or even completed in 6 days. But we know when a vision makes sense for our community. There's been much planning and much coming together to create and build something vital for the Jewish community of Tucson. A place of meeting and security, a place of support and planning, a place that both the Jewish Federation of Southern Arizona and the Jewish Community Foundation can call home. God, grant us strength, endow us with a willingness and tenacity to continue the work which we begin today in the process of moving from vision to reality, from words and planning to a new home for our community. God, continue to grant your blessings upon this community as though they were the reins that we know to cherish, and all who guide and serve it, and fill us with the joy of your presence. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. All right. Now we're laying the foundation soon for the next 70 years from the last 70 years. And I want to thank the building committee members of David Goldstein and Stuart Chatkin, Nell Cohen, who has given us many hours of his legal services and donated them, along with all the other projects that we've just completed in the last 5 years. Deanna Evenchik, Marlene Friedman, Fran Katz, and Stu Mellon, as well as Federation Campaign Chair Deborah Osaran and Women's Philanthropy Campaign Chair Madeline Friedman for their leadership and fundraising efforts. BFL Construction, wait a minute, I'm not done. BFL Construction, Gary Brav, Ken Sand, and their team. You know, they've been terrific. This is part of what I do for a living, not build, but develop. And they've paid attention to every detail, and we've had many, many meetings, and we've really worked through to get the best thing we can possibly get for the money that we're all spending. It's my honor right now to call on someone who's really changed our community in the last 5+ years, in my opinion. And I'm not being political, I think I'm being accurate. Mayor Jonathan Rothschild.
Well, good afternoon. When I get a chance to review the early history of Tucson, I am always impressed to see how the Jewish pioneers helped to build this community. The University of Arizona, City Hall, the first bookstore, the first library, many of our early businesses, all built with Jewish influence. Today, we celebrate the groundbreaking of another building in our legacy. The Jewish Community Foundation of Southern Arizona was housed on this campus for years, but outgrew its facilities and moved off. It makes perfect sense to bring the foundation back home again. This is a significant year in Tucson Jewish history, as the Jewish Federation of Southern Arizona is 70 years strong. And strong is an apt word. The 70th anniversary is celebrated with platinum. And as a metal and a jewelry item, platinum is more dense and expensive than gold. So in fact, we are past our golden years. And that's a good thing for a community organization. When the Federation and Foundation are housed again together, it will mean more than 110 years of combined service to this community. And even though technology makes it easy for us to communicate from a distance, it's more convenient and more effective to be a short walk away from each other. This new building wouldn't be possible without many generous donors. And while there are too many to name, I think many of them are in the program, I would like to acknowledge a few of the families. The Evenchiks, the Diamonds, the Tobins, the Poses, the Zuckermans, Donald Baker and his family, the Kivels, and Paul and Alice Baker. Those families have been at the core of our community now for many years. And in some cases, some members of those families are no longer with us, but their spirit is alive in our hearts, and it is our responsibility to carry on their tradition. Now, I understand the new building will have a high ceiling in the lobby and an event center. And I'm very pleased to hear this, because what it will signify is a welcoming place for everyone in the community, Jewish or not. It's more important now to give the message of inclusion and not separation. Now, more than ever, we must work together for right, for good, and for the values that are deeply ingrained in our Jewish faith. With such generous donors, talented managements and boards at both the Federation and Foundation, wonderful architect and contractor, I know the Harvey and Deanna Evenchik Center for Jewish Philanthropy will be a successful addition to our community, and I look forward to attending the opening of the building next year. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. There's someone in our audience today who stepped up to give leadership and also be our lead donor. This person has had very many leadership roles in the local federation, and she's also had some national Jewish roles. She not only was generous with her money, but she's also generous with her time and her work ethic. And I'd like to introduce Deanna Evenchik.
Well, I'm taller. Okay. Sorry. Wow, what a great day, huh? This always happens to me.
Not to me.
Okay. I know that Tom had mentioned the building committee of which he is on, but they worked so tirelessly to get us here where we are today. They've been working with Kinsan at BFL for every week. They meet since the summer, and they've just been hashing out, getting everything fine-tuned. So it's going to be a beautiful facility, and I'm really excited about that, as I know all of you are. Wow. As I look out and see so many familiar faces, I marvel once again, as so many times before, how our community has stepped up to accomplish yet another great chapter in our Jewish Tucson. Just over 5 years ago, my husband Harvey, of blessed memory, a few weeks before he passed, shared with me his vision and dream of what he would like to do for the Federation that he had grown to love, as well as Stuart and Marlene. He was always so impressed with how many lives we could touch here in Tucson, across the nation, around the world, and of course, Israel. He was very proud to tell people how nationally the Jewish Federation was always listed in the top charitable organizations that were run most effectively and where the dollars contributed helped to benefit more people in need than in any other agency. You all know what I'm talking about because our community truly lives in the Jewish Federation's watchwords of Hesed, Tzedakah, and Tikkun Olam. So I took Harvey's dream to Stuart Mellon months later, and he shared with me that he always had held this vision because, well, we've seen where they are located, and let's be real, need I say more? So he readily embraced the idea. But at that time, the JCC was working on their project, and he said it was important to wait until the other agencies had completed their projects before the Federation could start with theirs. So we did wait, and now the time has finally arrived. Thanks to all of you here, it's here. I thank you all. I would also like to thank Stuart because he's so blessed. We're so blessed to have him, and who has made this such an effortless undertaking. Thank you, Stuart. And yeah, I can't say that enough. And also Marlene, who's the great connector of people, for her phenomenal job as well. Give it that, Marlene. And Fran Katz for always being there, taking up every task of the Federation that comes her way. And we're so blessed to have her at the Federation with us now. And for me, well, I'm just so proud to be a part of this community that proves every day what a cohesive, focused, determined group of philanthropists we are. I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, and now let the construction begin.
Thank you, Deanna. That was really well said. Now, our partner in the building, as the mayor pointed out, the foundation. I'd like to introduce Jim Whitehill, who's the president of the foundation.
Thank you, Tom. As president of the Board of Trustees of the Jewish Community Foundation of Southern Arizona, I represent all of its past, present, and future leadership. We're thrilled to be coming home to the Volk Jewish Community Campus. Our first home was the east end of the current Federation building. We then moved to the east side of Tucson. Then we moved to the north side of Tucson, and I can't tell you how excited we are to be moving home. We want to acknowledge the generosity of Deanna Evenchik and the other lead donors for making this building possible. Deanna was a vice president of the Jewish Community Foundation when I was a very young board member of that organization. And what an example she has set for all of us. This building is a result of her legacy planning. No groundbreaking would be complete without recognizing the Jewish Community Foundation leadership that came before me. There are members of the Tucson Jewish Community Council, that was the predecessor to the Jewish Federation of Southern Arizona, who envisioned a Jewish Community Foundation. People like Jerry Lyons, Chuck Whitehill, and Jack Fruckhandler of blessed memory. I also want to acknowledge our past board presidents of blessed memory, Harold Baumgarten, Gerald Gendel, Louis Poses, and Saul Tobin. And we appreciate the support of Harold Greenberg, who's a past president who lives out of town. And of course, I want to acknowledge those past presidents who continue to serve on the board of the Jewish Community Foundation and continue to make it thrive and prosper. Bruce Beyer, Danny Gash, Brenna Lacey, Jerry Newman, Stuart Shatkin, and Carrie Sylvan. And let's not forget our professional staff who helped us reach this day. Our current CEO is Tracy Salkowitz. Our past CEO, Carol Karsh, and the first CEO of the Jewish Community Foundation, Michael Green. And all of us at the Jewish Community Foundation join in celebrating this building, this legacy of our time, this time when we can cherish the past, celebrate the present, and enthusiastically look toward the future.
Next, I'd like to introduce Frank Messia of CDG Architects, who's really done a remarkable job in creating our design of the project and also the details relative to the most effective ways to construct it along with BFL. And also Cindy Hogan, his able assistant. I'd like to thank her. Frank actually did some research, not being Jewish, so he did some research on our very early days of 5,000 plus years ago. And I'll just introduce him and let him give his presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. The first thing I want to say is, on behalf of the design and construction team, that we're all very, very excited, very proud to be part of this building. It's, as Tom said, I felt as we were starting to design the building that we were figuring out the office part of the building, and it was a nice office building, but I wanted it to be more. I wanted it to be a culturally important building. And my experience in 50 years in Tucson is that the Jewish community has always been able to reach out a hand to the stranger, welcome them in. And I wanted to do a building that did that. I was inspired by a movie. It was called Raising the Roof. I don't know if you've seen it. It was about several hundred synagogues in Poland that were destroyed in World War II. No more, we don't have to talk about that. But the idea of the inspiration for those buildings that the movie indicated was a tent, and the importance of a tent in the Jewish culture. And what I did was I called my expert, Mel Cohen, wherever he is. I told him I wouldn't say that, but I am. And I said, Mel, I've got an idea. And I explained it to him. And he immediately went to the Bible and read me a verse of Sarah and Abraham welcoming the strangers to the tent. And in that spirit, we've designed this building, and the construction team and the design team, again, are very, very proud to have been part of this building, and we're very proud to be here today. Thank you.
Now I'm going to go off script, and when any of us lay people go off script, our CEO gets very, very nervous, very disturbed. He turned 21 last Thursday. 21 years he's been CEO of the Federation. And I heard last night, and I knew that he stayed at the Pose's house, but he stayed at Mrs. and Robin's, and I heard they had a very large Great Dane. And it scared the you-know-what out of him and when he came here to interview. But he still came. So we're so blessed to have him. And he's still creative. He's not stale by any means. We spent the last 2 years on studying how to allocate our resources, how to measure results of our resources, along with Elaine and Kathy Unger, who have co-chaired that effort, and Bruce Beyer. And he's just, still an innovator and still a vibrant leader. And he's also always thinking about how we can be inclusive in the overall community. And other than our synagogues and Hillel, we all know that every agency serves more non-Jews than Jews. And I think that's really important for us. It gives us an advantage in a sense because we can have more services for ourselves, to be candid, and we can also, we want to be Tikkun Olam in a very important part of the overall community. So it's only appropriate, and I've talked to some other leaders in Federation, we all agree that it's totally appropriate that Stuart by himself shovels the first bit of dirt for our foundation.
Did you see? Wow, thank you. Thank you. Okay. I think I can go home now. I thought the police cruiser was because Tom was going off script. So that was incredibly generous. So this is really happening. I mean, this is really, really happening. Tom's right. This was my 21st anniversary this week at the Federation, and it was during my first month here that Bruce Beyer said to me that I needed to promise to get to work on a new building. Which I guess proves that I don't rush into things. The truth is we haven't been sitting idly by, as you know. There have been additions and renovations to every one of the agency partners over the past 21 years. And we waited our turn. I've been telling the staff that our building is charming, and they believe it. So, I don't know what Deanna was referring to, but it's a very charming spot. But we are very excited to fulfill our aspiration to have a professional, secure building that brings together the Federation and the Foundation on our campus. So the time is now. We're about to ceremonially begin construction, but permit me a word about our community that really is evidenced by some events over the past 9 days. On very early Thanksgiving morning, as word of thousands of fires engulfing Israel began to surface, our Weintraub Israel Center Director, Oshrat Barel, got a call from the top firefighter in Israel asking if there was any way that we could help make a connection to the global supertanker, which happens to be the largest firefighting plane in the world that happens to be located in Marana. And that set into motion a series of events that not only had the global supertanker landing in Israel less than 24 hours later, but a delegation of 7 firefighters from Arizona, along with their Jewish mother, Patty Valance, who, though a lifelong Zionist, had never been to Israel. The whole delegation landed in Israel and spent the week partnering with them. And the point that I want to bring home is that these are not isolated events. They were the result of community building and relationship building. even illustrated by the very small point of when on Thursday morning of Thanksgiving I had the chutzpah to call CJ of the Congresswoman's office. He graciously took the call to help us expedite a passport for one of the firefighters. But the story goes back to the very creation of the Tucson Fire Foundation, which was created actually with the support of the Jewish Federation, and which is housed at our Jewish Community Foundation. It was soon after the Fire Foundation was formed that Jewish Family and Children's Service started delivering trauma services to firefighters who need it. So you can see a relationship that started to be built. Then there were the exchanges, the firefighters from Tucson who went to Israel, and the high-level first responders and firefighters who came to Tucson and ran joint training together. So when those calls came, and when the firefighters from Tucson said, we're getting on the next plane, that didn't just happen. That's the relationship building. I like to say, and I would add to it, it didn't end there, because it continued all this week in our synagogues, at our Jewish Community Center, or our Tucson Hebrew Academy, because all of those organizations, among them are 18 classrooms that partner, twin, with 18 Israeli classrooms in an ongoing way. This is not just a once a year. These are Skypes. These are relationships that are ongoing. So all week, those 18 classrooms were communicating about the fires, sending messages of love and support, communicating appreciation for the firefighters that went over. I like to say that community doesn't just happen, it has to be created. And the events of the past 9 days, which required the involvement of our Federation, synagogues, agencies, Congresswoman's office, and Fire Foundation, demonstrates what it means to create community. This kind of work happens here every day in Tucson. 2 days ago, the Community Foundation of Southern Arizona took its board for a tour of the Jewish History Museum, and it was this Community Foundation which wrote a $25,000 check to support the creation of the Holocaust History Center, a check that they wrote with the encouragement of our Jewish Community Foundation. This is the kind of community we have, and a community that we can be very proud of. For our Federation, whose mission statement starts with, we bring the Jewish community together, we know very well that all of our good work cannot be done without outstanding partners. And we're very blessed because we have outstanding partners. And as the Federation Foundation remain committed to supporting their work, we know that we bask in the light of their achievements. And so as we mark this auspicious occasion, we will have 3 groups of groundbreakers. First, we'll begin with our synagogue partners. I guess I'm going to have to sneak out and do a shovel, but I was trying to put them to work, free labor, but I'll sneak up there before they do. First, we'll begin with our synagogue partners who day in, day out represent the heart of our faith and tradition. So please join me in welcoming representatives of the 8 synagogues who comprise our Synagogue Federation Dialogue, as we ask them to grab a shovel and optional hard hat. First, we have the chair of our Synagogue Federation Dialogue, Rabbi Robert Eisen of Congregation Anshe Israel. Canty Avi Albert of Congregation Bet Shalom. I think Randy Collier is representing Congregation Haverim as co-president. David Jacobs, chair of Congregation Chafetz Chaim. Rabbi Thomas Lockheim of Congregation Or Hadash. Jeremy Light of Congregation Young Israel. Ryan Kaplan, representing Congregation Makor Haim, the president. And Rabbi Samuel Cohen, senior rabbi of Temple Emmanuel. Photo opportunity. Here we go. I did. I swear I did. You all come up and Thank you, that was fun. As this group takes the shovel to earth, I will ask all of our synagogue representatives and all of you to join in as we say the Shehachianu prayer, a prayer which we recite when we do something for the first time or on special occasions. The prayer translates into praise to you, eternal our Lord, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this day. And so as they dig into the earth, I'll ask everybody to join in. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu hazman hazeh. Amen. You're more experienced than I am, as you can see. And now let us welcome our agency partners who day in, day out deliver services on behalf of our Jewish community. First, we bring up the co-chair of the Jewish Community Roundtable, along with Rabbi Batsheva Appel, who's also the chair of Handmaker Jewish Services, Phil Bregman. Phil, come on up. We have Mary Cochran-Wolf, the chair of the Jewish Community Center. Jill Rosenzweig, also a major donor to this project and past chair of Jewish Family and Children's Service. And she's insisted that she's we said we'd bring the shovel to her, but no way, that's not gonna happen, you know Jill. We have Barbara Brumer, chair of the Jewish History Museum, Holocaust Center. Bertie Lefkowitz, chair of the Tucson Hebrew Academy. Mark Hanna, immediately past chair of the U of A Hillel Foundation. Jim Whitehill, chair of the Jewish Community Foundation. And Tom Warren. And let me tell you, if you're a nonprofit and you're going to build a building, it's very handy to have a developer as your board chair. But not only that, Tom has truly, as Deanna said, been involved in every little element of this planning. So, as they are about to turn the earth, let's think about this proverb. By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. As we call up our 8 lead donors, I draw your attention to the back of your program, which lists the individuals who made contributions to our project as of earlier this past week. At our grand opening event, to be held at the end of the summer, we will have the opportunity to recognize each of these donors and the many others yet to contribute. For the many of you who have not yet had the chance, we have not had the chance to reach out to on behalf of the campaign, we thank you for being here and we thank you in advance for your support. Today we're asking this group of 8 lead donors to represent all of us. And so it's my privilege to call upon first people who need no introduction, Paul and Alice Baker. Come on up, Paul and Alice. Paul and Alice are given these decades of leadership to our Jewish community, and they have not slowed down in their commitment one little bit. Second, on behalf of Jane and Leah Kivel of blessed memory, it's hard to, these are poignant moments when we're thinking of someone who's not with us, but we're so grateful to Jane, and she's represented today and joined by her son Harvey, who will do the honors. Thank you so much. Jane has been a powerful, sometimes quiet, and strong leader in our Jewish community. And Harvey and Jane, we thank you. Next one is also difficult, but we're so proud to remember Don Baker, who's we will have a portion of our building in his memory on behalf of the endowment fund that's been established. it's very meaningful to bring up Lindsay Baker. And I know that Enid and Mel Zuckerman are very proud that their grandchildren, who are really dynamic young leaders on behalf of our community, are representing them. Please welcome Nicole Zuckerman Morris and Ken Morris. Shortly after the project was started, Mitch Poses came to me and said that he and his siblings wanted to do something in memory of their folks, Shell and Evie. Shell and Evie have done so much for our community, and it's quite remarkable that their children wanted to honor their memory by contributing to this project. So I think we have Mitch and Shelley representing them, and their other siblings, Bill and Melanie. Thank you. We have some other next generation, couple other generations of Poses is running around here too, which is nice. Representing Sue Tobin and Saul of blessed memory, we have a couple generations of Tobin. So who is going to do the honors today? Come on up, guys. Sue is going to sit in the front there and quell as she watches that. The first pledge, in essence, to this project came in 2007 from the Diamond family. In 2007, we were going to build this building, but then 2008 happened. So we decided we should wait. But the pledge was there and it remained, and I'm so pleased that Helene is here to represent her family. Thank you. And as you've heard, there's one person who stepped forward to move this project into fruition, and and she was waiting for this. This is the special commemorative shovel for Deanna Evenchik Bravo. As they turn the earth, we think about the following Jewish wisdom. As my parents planted before me, so I plant for my children. We didn't have them sign releases, so I hope they're safe. I see the hard hat stayed on the table. I guess I said optional. That was a mistake, I guess. So as we celebrate what we have accomplished, we can acknowledge that to fix this world, to repair this world, there is that much more work to be done. We look forward to doing it together, and I welcome our board chair to close out our program.
Are Nancy and Gwen here? Just want to thank them for setting all this up, doing all this and setting up the refreshments and so on. Now, thank you again for coming. And now it's time to have champagne and construction cookies. I don't think BFL made these cookies. I hope not. But many of them. So join us for a celebration and have some champagne and cookies. Thank you.